Hey, to any of my returning viewers, I just want to say sorry for the insanely long delay. I was on vacation, then my keyboard went on life support, and then my power went out for like almost an entire day, so sorry about that. Anyway, enjoy the video. Forsaken was released in 2024, right at the rear end of the year, and ever since the new year, there's been a shift on the Roblox platform, and the center of it all, Forsaken. All the drama, the community, retro slop, and the whole Spawnism fiasco are all things people talk about regarding Forsaken. But we aren't going to be talking about it here. I'll leave that to better individuals. I will be talking about the unnecessary hate towards the actual game of Forsaken. Before we start, everyone is subject to their own opinion as long as their opinion makes sense. Too bad Forsaken haters. You actually need to play the game first before forming an opinion. Forsaken has been the center of a lot recently, but something I found the most baffling about that is how much people hate Forsaken as a game. And to start, I actually like Forsaken. Yeah, I know. I'm probably gonna be called retro slop or dumbass, probably some slurs as well. I won't really be reviewing the game here. I will just be talking about how everyone is hopping onto the hate train of Forsaken equals bad. I will touch upon some of my complaints of the game later on though. Whenever I do a community question asking what you guys think is the worst Roblox game or the weirdest, I always get comments on Forsaken. And even when I'm not asking people directly, I still get comments about how bad Forsaken is. So out of curiosity, I respond, and the things these people say afterwards make absolutely no sense. But before we get into that, we should probably explain how to form an actual concrete opinion on a game, because a lot of people really struggle with this for some reason. Not too long ago, I made a video on Grow a Garden, and it was structured as a game review. And you could probably guess that I didn't like it, just look at the thumbnail. But here's the thing, I actually gave the game a real chance, meaning I actually tried playing it. It didn't take long for me to form an explanation about how the game is bad. With Forsaken on the other hand, it's a little bit more tricky, since it's a game where you have to build skill and play the game a lot more. I see a lot of people say Forsaken is bad, and they technically have played it, but then they come up with reasons that don't make sense. Have you ever considered that maybe you just don't like the game? Calling a game trash is different than just not liking it. Maybe people just don't like the game and that's fine. It only becomes a problem when you call it bad with absolutely no reason. This is a problem with actual game journalists, by the way. They don't have that much time to play the game, so they play a small chunk of it and then form a quote-unquote opinion. Also, I know the community sucks. We're not gonna be talking about it here, at least not much. I just wanted to mention that. Regardless of people playing it, a lot of more people still decide, hey, this game is actually really bad, and I don't care what anyone else says because I don't want to have civil discussions that aren't filled with horrible logic and reasoning. This is mainly only a problem with platforms like TikTok, because it's TikTok. It always has a hate train problem. People will say something is bad and then everyone just, like, wears the wears the opinion like a cosmetic in a video game. Forsaken isn't perfect, far from it. I only started playing it after a while for footage for this video, and I mostly enjoyed everything in the game, allowing me to get 60 hours of playtime, which is apparently a small amount compared to everyone else who plays it. A lot of my problems come from the game being too skill-based. I know that's gonna make a lot of people mad, but the game definitely needs some balancing changes, and I know that's gonna be really hard to do, but yeah, still. A lot of the skill in the game is insanely repeatable. That really is only like a minor issue, I would say. I have a bigger issue about this game though. Holy crap, this game completely ruined some Roblox characters. My god. We have 5 killers, and 2 that really got on their reputation as Tarnished. Those killers being Cool Kid and 1x blah 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 blah, we'll call him 1x. Let's start with 1x. It is canonically a 4-dimensional cube, somehow turning into a human form. Thus, it does not have a gender. Why is he a woman? Alright, so I already edited and recorded an entire section for 1x, but it was kind of mostly filler, so I'm dumbing it down to they made it seem like 1x is a woman, and now people be craning their jaw to a 4-dimensional cube. In all seriousness, the hair on 1x is pretty cool. Like, I'm saying that in the most normal way possible. It's sad how many things people will do to a character if it has the slightest resemblance to a woman. Alright, moving on to Cool Kid. Cool Kid slash 007 and 7 are actual Roblox hackers, and not just terrorized ones. 007 and 7 was the main account, while Cool Kid was an alt account used by many other people, and they formed Team Cool Kid. They made Cool GUI, which was like a hacking program program. I don't know, it was just some hacking thing. Okay, well, tell me why Cool Kid is now some annoying child and why 007 and 7 is his dad. I love this concept between these two characters. But if you want to pay tribute to Cool Kid, they kinda did it in the worst way possible. This Forsaken Cool Kid lore feels like if the former owner of the game slapped their likeness onto their stupid OC and then and then tied it in between another beloved Roblox character being the work at a pizza place mascot. Am I, like, actually, like, delusional? I don't know. Just let me know in the comments. I really want to see your opinions on this. Now that we got my reasons for the game being quote-unquote bad, let's talk about the reasons why everyone else despises this game heavily. But first, if you like my type of content, consider interacting with this video. Like the video, subscribe, maybe even leave a comment. It really helps me out a lot, and also, I need water. I also have a Discord server where you can talk to me and join events. And speaking of said events, if you have a computer and Steam, you can join a game night where we will play a game called Crab Game, made by our Lord and Savior that will hopefully release Carlson soon, Danny Dev. Alright, back to the reasons why people really hate this game. Like, really hate it. They despise it, bro. Number 1, it's just Dead by Daylight. Yeah, it's definitely inspired, but a lot of the game is still unique. If only people had actually played the game, I wouldn't have to explain basic mechanics, now do I? Forsaken is a lot more fast-paced, and survivors of actual kits, unlike Dead by Daylight with very lackluster abilities. I did a minimal research on Dead by Daylight, by the way, so pardon me if I get anything wrong. There also isn't many movement mechanics like in Dead by Daylight, like vaulting. And Forsaken is just a good old WASD. Also, if this is such a big issue for why Forsaken sucks, then that means every single game with this formula must suck, right? Right? The Facility is a beloved Roblox game, and it's either inspired by Dead by Daylight or has very similar gameplay and formula. But do people hate on it, like Forsaken? No, they don't. Again, have you ever stopped to consider that you maybe just don't like games like this? Alright, number 2, and this one might be a little bit controversial. There aren't any other reasons. Like, no, I'm not kidding. That is right. A majority of the complaints of the game are, it's too similar to DBD. There's probably other ones, but they get hidden by the amount of people that say this absolute nonsense. But why? Well, like how we joked about, it's because of this thing called the hate train. Or at least I call it that. It's a very corny thing to say, I know. It usually comes from one person having a bad opinion and then spreads like a virus. If you're watching and you actually have reasons for why Forsaken is bad, then let me know in the comments. I genuinely am very curious. Because at the end of the day, this game isn't the greatest. And I want to get some insight on actual opinions that aren't made by robots with no feelings or memory storage to form a real opinion. Well, that's kind of about it. Not really much else that I can say other than the drama that was happening in the Forsaken community, or just anything loosely related to Forsaken on Roblox. I had an entire segment talking about, like, the Spawnism stuff and other things, but as you saw from the beginning of this video, it was actually delayed. Like, this entire video was, like, delayed by a lot. So I kind of see no point in even talking about it. And hey, we're already at, like, the 8-minute mark, so who cares? Hashtag free schlep. And with all that said, I'm Nubis, and thank you for watching.